All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Today is a Saturday. Happy.
Mr. Host, we're not hearing you, man.
Yeah,
Mr. Host, sort out the connection and come back, man. We're not hearing you.
He muted. I think he muted. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah.
yeah, we heard you now.
Oh, but then they talk. But then they talk. Oh, yeah, but good evening, everyone. Good night, everyone. Welcome to another Sports Frenzzyy podcast. As you know, I'm your host, The Voice. With me, we have Cream, we have Vincent, and we have VJ. Devin is still crying about Brooklyn getting swept. I'm not sure if he will show up tonight, but hopefully we can see him. All right. So, how are we doing, gentlemen? How are we doing this evening?
Good.
All right, so let us talk about your team, VG, really, really quickly because you guys swept the Nets. Obviously, there was a referee decision in there where gave Jason Tatum 6 foul. Didn't like that at all. Didn't think it was a foul. That referee has been bad. What's his name? Scott Foster. He has been bad all game long. Obviously, CP3 ate that man like poison. But tell us about what your thoughts were on the series itself, and what can we look forward to against the Milwaukee Bucks without Chris Middleton.
All right. Well, I think it was a good series. It was 4 close games for the most part. Maybe not the third game or the fourth game, but I think it was a tight series. I think people are underrating the Nets, thinking that, well, because they got swept, they weren't a good team. I believe that they would have beaten any team not named Celtics or Bucks. Heat would have been a tight match. I could see them beating the Heat. People are thinking they're a bad team just because they got swept, but that series could have gone anyway. That if Tatum didn't make that first shot in that final shot in game 1, they would have been 1-0, and then lost game 2 by a few points as well. So the series could have easily gone a different way where it's a 3-1 to Nets going into game 5 or whatever the case is. But or should I say the Celtics? I'm saying we, like I'm part of the Celtics, but they showed points and closed the games, and that's a good thing to look forward to if they can close out these close games with KD and Kyrie, who's supposed to be some of the best closers in the league. Regarding the Bucks, I see people overlooking that Middleton is out and still have the Bucks winning, and I can't see how a team missing their second best player and people still going with the Bucks after seeing what they said. I understand they are the defending champion, but Middleton is the Bucks closer. Middleton is the second best scorer on that team. I just can't see how the Celtics team would lose to that Bucks team without Middleton. If Middleton was there, I would have given the Bucks a slight favorite because of they're the champions, and they're still a very good squad. Even without Middleton, they're a good squad. But the Celtics team, I think, is different. Where I give in the Celtics. I think you're going to finish in 5 games.
5 games. All right, hear me out the VJ 1 second because me and Mr. Grandpa in the left hand corner, right? me and him go back and forth with this, and I'm saying, listen, I'm not saying Middleton is not the second best player on the team, but what I'm saying is that I believe without Middleton, I believe Milwaukee get to play to their strength, which is size. And I think if you're going to try and beat the Celtics, I think size is the way to do it. Not with a wing player, because we already see what they just did to KD, and they lock him up. And if they can lock up KD, I don't see why they can't lock up Middleton too. Because I don't think Middleton have more in his arsenal than a KD. So I'm looking now and I'm saying the lineup that I think will give Boston the most trouble is Drew Holiday, right? Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, then you have Bobby Portis, you have Giannis, and then you have Brook Lopez. Big twin towers. And remember, Brook Lopez can also shoot the 3 ball. Bobby Portis can shoot the 3 ball, right? And they also can be inside and grab rebounds. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, if you're going to try and beat the Celtics, that is the way how you're going to do it. Not with a Chris Middleton, who is very up and down, up and down. That man is not consistent. What do you say about that, boss?
Well, I've heard that argument that the Bucks is a big team, and even with Middleton, because Middleton is what 6'6", 6'7". It's still a big team, but the Celtics is a big team as well. They have Al Horford the 6'10". Robert Williams plays above his size. He's 6'8", but he can jump higher than almost anyone on that Bucks team apart from Giannis. Tatum is 6'10". Jaylen Brown is 6'7", and Marcus Smart, who's the defensive player of the year, is 6'4", 6'5". So there's nobody on that team where you can say they're small or they can attack.
They're not 7 foot though. That's what Brook Lopez is.
Well, the thing is why I think this is a good matchup for the Celtics, and it has shown time and time again, this is how the Bucks play defense. They play drop coverage a lot. They believe in defending the paint versus the 3-point. They allow a lot of open threes. I believe I saw a stat where they allowed the Bulls, like I don't remember the exact number, but a crazy number of open threes. But the Bulls is one of the worst 3-point shooting teams, so they couldn't capitalize. You can't do that with the Celtics team because they have Grant Williams, Pritchard, Tatum, Jalen, Marcus, all of them can knock down threes. Al Horford. So if they're going to play that same drop coverage that they've been playing every series since last season, I think with last season, the past 3 seasons, that's not going to work against the Celtics team.
All right. So one last question, VJ. So now, like they play 4 times during the regular season, right? And it's 2-2, tied 2-2, and I think Celtics score 118 points if I'm not mistaken, and I think Bucks probably 116 thereabout, right? And Middleton struggle in those 4 games, absolutely struggle. Obviously, Jason Tatum flourish, and Giannis is going to be Giannis. So again, I'm looking at that and I'm saying people making a big deal about Middleton. When it's not like we're talking about a LeBron, a KD, a Steph Curry. Like this is freaking Chris Middleton. I think the Bucks will probably miss him a little bit in probably closing, but I think overall, I don't think the series is hinged on Chris Middleton. However the series go, I think that's what it's supposed to go, with or without Middleton.
I mean, I give Middleton a lot of rate. I think he's still the second best player, and the Bucks is a thin team. On their bench, they only have 2 players coming off of their bench because they put Wesley Matthews in their starting lineup. You only have Bobby Portis and Grayson Allen coming off of the bench. There's no one else on that bench, really. So I think Middleton's going to be a big factor that they're missing, and that's probably going to be what Bucks fans use when they're losing 5 games.
Okay. All right. So Vincent, let me get to you now, boss. And what I wanted to address first before we really address the game, because I know you were one who had Nets to lose this series. I believe you said that they're going to lose, but you also have Nets winning the trade versus Philly, even though you apologize for that one, right? So listen. Let me ask you, Vincent. So, Kyrie Irving made some comments after the game. Say, hey, I want to be a net. Kevin and the front office, we are going to basically restructure the team. So he's basically putting himself in management shoes, right? This man who is you can't depend on him. So I just wanted to know what you thought about Kyrie's comments, one, and tell us about the series and how you think the Bucks series is going to go.
All right, a couple of things. I don't really listen to Kyrie. This man is a flat earth man. This man, I believe, let down the Nets. If Kyrie had played and just commit himself, just like KD did, just like everybody else did, and commit, and I may have a business if them want to talk about whether it is your choice to take the vaccine or not. You decide to come to Nets, you carry all of these people with you. Hey, let it go. Now you have to take one for the team. You understand? He didn't, hence they were all the way down there, didn't get to have a cohesion, didn't get to play good. I had Nets losing because for me, I believe in defense, full stop. And even against Boston, even though I hear VJ say, you stop those 2 closers. One of the problem Nets have is that they couldn't stop Boston down the stretch, none at all. They could not. And this is why I said I know that the two of them is great. I just wanted to see the series to see how they are going to play defense. They could not stop Boston, none at all. Even in that game 6, yes, call the foul, tiki-tack, shouldn't happen, bad referee, whatever. Tatum went out. They still couldn't stop the Boston. You understand? And that's the big problem they had. That's why they lose. I'm not sure why VJ believed that they would have beat Miami or beat any other team. They can't stop anybody. In order for Nets to win, it needed Kyrie and KD to play absolutely great. In the playoff game that they have to make it in, both of them had to play great, and even then they barely beat Cleveland. You understand? Because they don't play defense, right? So Nets because the defense was always going to be in problem when you hit playoff. I said to you that Nets win the trade because you know my feeling about Harden. I don't trust him. I believe Harden is going to come bad in big moments. I have seen it time and time and time again. The last time I see Harden really coming good and playing well was against San Antonio way back in 2011. I believe when OKC went down 2-0, and it was really Harden against that Spurs team that brought them back and take them to the NBA championship. I haven't seen Harden since that. Yes, he may play good in 1 and 2 series, but when it gets to the big moment, he disappears. You understand? Disappear when he had Chris Paul with him, he disappear. I apologize because when I look back at what is coming out now about Ben and the fact that it is from college, that this man have a little mental problem, I'm like, oops. Nets in trouble. Nets in serious trouble because this seems to not be something that is a no thing. This seems to be something for a long time. You understand? And in any sport, what is critical is the mental aspect that keeps every great sportsman is about mentality. All that we have talent is mentality determine how far we're going and what is it that we do. In the series to come, without Middleton, and as you said, we would have talked about that again. And I like VJ, Middleton is the second best player. Yes, he doesn't play like that all the time. If you remember the Eastern Conference final last year, when he came good, that was when Bucks was pretty much unbeatable. You understand? So they really need Middleton to step up his game in order to play even at Boston and beat Boston. It is more out of sentiment and a belief in Giannis, why I still say, Bucks probably in 7. But truthfully, without Middleton, Boston should win this series. I hear you with the big players. You have Bobby Portis. You have, what is center name again?
Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez.
Serge Ibaka too.
And Serge Ibaka. But here the problem that Bucks is going to have. You have You have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, then point guard, defensive player. How are Bucks going to match up with those players? Because you only have Holiday can guard one. Who is going to guard Tatum and Jaylen Brown when you play big like that? And those big players are going to stretch the floor because they don't want to clog the middle. It's not like they're playing big to play in the middle, because they want the middle for Giannis to drive in. We have seen Giannis over the years. Whenever a team plays good against him, them wall off the middle. So Giannis, he has gotten better at making some outside shots, which is good. And I'm going back him. I love his tenacity. That's why I'm going back Giannis. You understand? But like VJ said, if you really look at Boston and how they will play, they should be able to win. I'm not sure 5. Probably I'm going to give Giannis at least 2, but I'm still going, I want to see Giannis really do well, and I believe that he has a tenacity to push it. It's going to be an interesting series.
All right, well, the first game is definitely tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Kareem, Vincent touched on it a little bit. He spoke about Ben Simmons, and, again, this guy has been very aloof from LSU. LSU had the chance to go to the March Madness. Ben Simmons sit out and say he's going to prepare for the draft. Let us not even talk about when the whole Australian team was looking for him to come and play for them in the Olympics. The man pulled out last minute. Obviously, we know what he did with Philly. And now, with the Nets. All of a sudden, wake up. After Nets go down 3-0, his back was fine. He was ready to play game 4 Monday. all of a sudden him wake up Sunday and not feeling well. You know, him back start church him again and all them something there. So, you know, you have been a big Ben defender. So I want you to try convince us. Why should we believe in Ben? For the man sit out the whole year. The man remind me of the Tinder swindler dude. The man sit out the whole year. And not only that, the man want to go grievance against Philly to get back $20 million for not playing. Like, I don't know how you do it. But tell us about Ben, one. Tell us how disappointed you are in the next two, and how you see the next series going.
All right. Ben, yeah. In terms of him coming back for the game 4, it really wouldn't make no sense. I think Nets fans just really wanted to see a glimpse of what it could be like next season. But really and truly, bringing him back for that game wasn't really. I didn't really want him to come back for that game really, because it was over already. The series was over, so it didn't make any sense. But he's gonna have now the entire summer off, you know, to work on his back, get his back right, see all we have to see, speak with all the therapists he needs to speak with, you know, get himself ready for a training camp. If at training camp he's still not able to go, I think Brooklyn probably might be looking to move him on.
Already? So that means that you know that trade James Harden for Curry and Drummond, really?
Pretty much.
So let me ask you a question quickly, Cream. How about the summer league? Ben Simmons haven't really played basketball in a year and change by the time the summer league come around. Do you risk Ben Simmons playing in the summer league and then first game, my back, and I have to go sit out the season again? Or do you just wait until pre-season, regular season to play him?
Yeah, I wouldn't play him in the summer league. I'll play him in pre-season. Give him even more additional time, because they will be working. They will have training camp where he'll be working with the team. He will be working with KD, them, the coaching staff, and I get to mesh with the team. So wouldn't play him in the summer league. We'll wait until pre-season before we try to integrate him.
Cream, they're saying you're toothless. All your teeth them lick out, so can't hear the fluency from you. But so tell us now about your Nets really quickly. What went wrong?
We got outclosed. All the games, as VJ said, were close. We're like single possession games, and we just got outclosed by Tatum and Brown them.
But if I remember correctly, Cream, on a podcast, Kyrie said, "I finally get to play with a player who can close just like me." And again, I always telling about sports, you know. The time will always come to back up your talk. Always. And Kyrie never back up him talk. Kyrie played one good game the series and then that was it. KD played one good game the series and that's the last game and that was it. You know, for bring up him scoring average a little bit so it can look respectable. It
was a bit weird because, like I said, he played well the last game, which goes to show that if he applied the same aggression in the first 3 games, probably would have a different result. So I'm not sure what really happened, why his aggressiveness wasn't there from the jump. Kyrie was there for game 1, then the rest of the game was mediocre. So it was just a bad series. What's them right now?
Sound like Cream still in shock.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yo, man, they ruined the playoff star.
Here's Garth Freeman saying, yes, Kyrie this.
Well, Bucks. The next series, Bucks. Boston. I'm going with Bucks in 7. In 7, I think. As you alluded to, the size that Bucks have. Even though Brook Lopez at times doesn't play to his size, he tends to love to drift outside the 3-point line. But I think I'm going with Giannis, the best player in the world right now, the best player in the world, you know, undoubtedly. So I'm going with him. They have Matthews. Vinny, you spoke about who are going to take JT and JB. You have Holiday and 1, and Wesley Matthews can guard the next one. Also, Giannis will also take on that challenge as well from time to time. As a game
Wesley who?
Matthews.
Wesley Matthews.
All right, sir.
Yeah, but man, you forget to just say Wesley Matthews in LA.
Okay, Marcy.
We have a full visual of Wesley Matthews trying to defend.
Hey, everybody that leaves LA look a lot better. You
Not
know, you
Wesley.
know, realize that.
Not
You
Wesley, but
realize that.
all right, here is Garth Raymond saying, yes, Kyrie, this all goat James about closer. Absolutely, totally agree with you, Garth Raymond. All right, so let us move on to the next series, the game that is going to be played tomorrow after the Celtics game, and that will definitely be the Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And you know, Vincent, Warriors is your team. I'm going to start with you, even though I believe you're a bandwagonist, but I'll leave you on that wagon for now. Listen,
Hear the man
Jamorant,
them.
Jamorant, Vincent, Jamorant was poor against the Timberwolves, right? 3 out of the 4 games where Memphis win, Timberwolves was leading by double digits in the fourth quarter. Can't do that against the Warriors, or else you're in trouble. You're going to get swept if they come with this with same little foolish basketball. How do you see the series going, and do you see an X factor in the series after seeing how Grizzlies play and how Warriors play?
The only X factor in the series is going to be injury, and that is injury to Golden State Warriors. I do honestly believe that Golden State going to either win this in 5 or 6. Honestly believe that. The truth is when you look at even Minnesota and what they were able to do offensively, just think about what Golden State is going to do against Memphis offensively. What Memphis have going for them is that they are big. And when I look at the series, Memphis big, Bain, Brooks, the guy there in the middle, Jaren Jackson, even Clark that plays. They're big. You understand? Really a big team, and they move. A young team, big team. They moved. They do well. The truth is, defensively, I believe they were also fourth. What they will kill Golden State with, especially that little small lineup that way Golden State pushing now, saying is a dead lineup, is that they rebound, and they rebound well. You understand? Denver was about 13th in rebound. Memphis about number 1. You understand? They do rebound well. But if Golden State is making shots, it's gonna be over. You understand? I don't believe, and even when persons say, boy, Memphis beat Golden State during the regular season, they had them, I think they beat them 2-1 in the regular season. Most those games played 2 of those games played January and after. That was without Draymond Green. I don't believe what's his name, Curry played in one of them. It wasn't. You're just beginning now to see a cohesive Golden State team. Even the last podcast we have before playoff, I had said to you guys that I'm not sure unless Golden State could come with that defense that we know that they started the season with, then they are going to be in problem. And we have, you see it. You see it in that first round matchup. I want to see it also now against a team that can also shoot. I do believe that Golden State will win in about 5 or 6.
All right. Cream.
Yes, sir.
So here is Garth Raymond saying, for an elder, can't take him serious saying he's a Golden State fan. Correct about bandwagon. Golden State to the window. Grizzlies young and dumb. Hey, Cream. So I want us to remember that last season, Grizzlies, send Steph Curry fishing, in that playing game.
The playing game, yeah.
And obviously you can tell me, say, they never have Clay, and Jordan Poole isn't Jordan Poole.
It's a one-off game. It's a one-off game.
Stuff. But listen, just remember, the Grizzlies team wasn't the Grizzlies team either, right? And I believe that because Steve Adams was a liability against the Timberwolves. He just couldn't be on the floor. Against the Warriors, I think he's going to be there, right? Also, Cream, it seems like Memphis have a knack when they're playing against Golden State. Like, them love play against Golden State. They love play against the Steph Currys of the world. So, Cream, who you have winning this series, and who do you think will be the X factor in the series?
Golden State. Remember, I had Golden State coming out of the West. One time y'all were hyping up, jumping on Phoenix, and everybody was in Phoenix. I was like, Golden State. Once everybody was healthy, I was going with Golden State. I think the firepower is gonna be too much for Memphis to really cope with. The PTSD lineup there. You say Adams being out there. I don't see it, especially when they go small. with the death lineup.
Oh, but Draymond is going to be at the 5. What
Yeah.
what Draymond going to do? I'll allow Draymond to shoot every single 3-pointer in the world. Like what Draymond going to do. So that's the difference. Because listen, for the 5 at the Timberwolves, that was Karl Anthony Towns, the big 3-point contest winner. And that man only wants to shoot threes. That man don't want to go into the paint. That man only wants to shoot threes. So every single person was dragging Steven Adams outside of the paint, and he's a liability just like Rudy Gobert. So for me, I'm thinking that Steven Adams will be in there because he was a huge part as to why they were top 5 in rebounding.
Agree.
But even before, what is Memphis going to do on offense with Steven Adams?
Wait,
Post him up.
what you mean?
No, because Steven Adams don't help Memphis offense. He doesn't.
Well, he'll get offense. So his game, offensive rebounds, those little floaters, what he get 2, 3. That's all he needs.
That's a good screens that I can say. He's a good screener for Jamorant.
All right.
But you're saying you're gonna force Draymond. Remember that Golden State offense is motion offense, brother.
Right.
So they're gonna be lots of screen, lots of back cut, and Warriors with that death lineup. When you have a pool again in the lineup, it's gonna be a tough cover. So I just think it's gonna be too much for Memphis, and I'd probably give them 6. Golden State to win in 6.
All right. So what I'll say, and I'll pass it on to VJ right now. But what I will say is that they beat Denver in 5 without Jamal Murray, without MPG, and if Jokic was a superstar like how y'all make him out to be, this series would have probably got 7. Because there were some games in there where it was begging Jokic, please, Jokic, come and close the game for me, Jokic, please, and he just wasn't able to show up. Obviously, VJ going to come tell you about pretty numbers, 37 and 12, first person with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 800 assists. I'm going to tell you all of them nice numbers. But in superstar time, and superstar time for me is 5 minutes and less. There were games where Denver was leading with 3 minutes left, 2 minutes 30 left, and the game is begging for Jokic to close, and it was brick, little Draymond Green guarding. But VJ, I just wanted to tell me, because I think you had the Timberwolves to win this series, right? Did you?
No, I had
Yeah, Memphis.
I had Memphis, but
Right.
I had Memphis like 5 games.
All right, so this series between the Grizzlies and the Warriors, who do you have winning the series, and what do you think will be the difference in the series?
Well, I think the series is going to come down to who can impose their type of game on the other team. Because will the Warriors shooting play Steven Adams off the court to minimize their size, or will the size of Grizzlies force the Warriors to play Kevin Looney a lot of minutes alongside with Draymond Green? I think the team that's going to impose their type of game is Warriors onto the Memphis, where Steven Adams won't be seen a lot of time because he won't be able to defend all those 3-point shooting. And just seeing how the Grizzlies was against the Timberwolves, it didn't give much confidence. I thought before I saw them against the Timberwolves, I thought that the series with Warriors would probably go to 6-7 games. But after seeing how the Wolves played against them, I don't really give them a much of a shot against this Warriors team. One interesting stat I saw was the Grizzlies rebounded or got 30% of their misses they got for second child point in against Wolves. Like that's a crazy how to get 30% offensive rebound every time you miss a shot. So that's going to be a big issue for the Warriors, but the experience and the shooting is going to overcome the Grizzlies, and I have the Warriors winning 5 or 6.
5 or 6. All right, so you guys tell me about death lineup for the Warriors, but I want to know who's going to come out there and guard Jamorant. Could not be Steph Curry. Steph Curry will be forced to defend this in this series.
Yeah, but
forced to defend.
No, but
Jamorant can't defend either.
who will go and defend? Mm-hmm.
Curry. Clay Thompson,
And not only that, and not-
Two-way wigs. Two-way wigs.
and to be honest, and we have seen Steph Curry, especially this year, coming out of last year, this year, he has gotten a lot better. Still not a great defender. You understand? Still not a great defender, but he has gotten a lot better. You understand?
What you call better? What you call better?
He might defend better, man. He might try better, man. If you compare Steph Curry now to 15, 16, 17, he man way better. He put on a little weight, you see him put on a little more, and you see him fight over screen, and he might try. He might try, boss. Yeah, that's he might try. But who Morant going to gain guard? Remember, what's his name on team? Morant going guard. What's his name on the Timberwolves? Every time I saw him depend with Morant, and I run joke with him. But
Patrick
the truth
Beverley?
is, who Morant? Yeah, Patrick Beverley. And Patrick Beverley is nowhere near the scorer or offensive player like a Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, or those guys.
They're going to. I think. So me personally, I think Memphis should go 3-2 zone. I think they should go. Yeah. I think they should definitely go zone because, listen, Warriors don't want the 2-point shots. They want the 3-point shots. Okay. And I think, or what they can do, they can load upon Curry, double Curry, and leave Draymond Green open. For me, Draymond Green would have to win this series. Draymond Green would have to win this series because
if you are doubling Curry, somebody is open.
That's why I said Draymond Green. I'm putting Dylan Brooks on either Clay or
Wiggins.
Or Poole. Wiggins. You don't care about Wiggins. So Wiggins don't really matter right here. So is Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole. Those are the three persons we have to worry about. And we just need to get really one off of them game and Memphis to win this series. Like, I'm picking Memphis to win this series. I'm going to get to Gary in a second. So I'm picking Memphis to win this series. I'm going Memphis in 7 because I think it's going to be hard to win a game 6 over there, at the Dubs. So, but I just think when I look at Memphis, I think Memphis just love beating the Warriors. And what Memphis do well, I don't think, Warriors have won. I don't think Clay is the same defender he was before.
He's not.
Don't think he is. Draymond, all right, I'll give Draymond. But who is Draymond really going to defend? Jarrett Jackson?
But Wiggins is a good defender for Warriors.
Wiggins, but who is he going to defend? Desmond Bain?
Probably Arja.
No, he can't defend Jackson because he's too small, too little.
I'm going to put Clay and Ja, and then Peyton and Ja as well.
Ja is saying, okay.
Yeah, Ja.
All right, well, I mean, we'll see, but I don't think Memphis is going to win. And then, obviously, we'll talk about the next series shortly, who Memphis is going to play in the Western Conference Finals for sure. But Gary, welcome, boss.
Yeah, man. Respect.
All right. You see this one going? Golden State, Memphis.
I think it's gonna be an interesting series. I took some of Vijay's points that he made earlier. The biggest problem for Golden State is size. Memphis bangs the board a lot. The last series is, I don't think it's an indication to go by to pick up Memphis' strength, because what happened in that series against the Timberwolves played very silly basketball. And if you want to be honest with yourself, you can say that the Timberwolves should have won that series, because a lot of times I've seen where they blew some big leads. I think it was game 3, game 5, they had a 25 or a 24-point lead at one point. I think 2 quarters they outscored them in game 3 by I think 40-some points. And I didn't like how the Timberwolves played. They actually they settled for a lot of jump shots and a lot of 3-point shots, and it gave the Grizzlies, some momentum in terms of driving to the basket and getting a lot of second chance points, as Vijay said, because they got about 30% of their shots, of their points from second chance points. So I'm looking at this series, and I feel that Memphis might be at a disadvantage when it comes to this series, because I'm looking at the shooting that Golden State has. Even though they lack size, I'm looking at Memphis at a disadvantage series, and I'm looking at 6 games or 7 games for Golden State.
All right, so six or 7 games. All right, well, definitely we'll see the first game tomorrow. And as Morant said, stay over that side. Stay over that side. Don't want to come when you see Golden State 2-0, 3-0 down. You guys want to say, "Oh, it's not over yet."
You won't say that.
All right, so let's go to the next series now. Obviously, we're talking about the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks, and I think this is the battle of battles. I think the winner of this series, I think, will go ahead and win the NBA Finals. That's just me. I think the winner of this series win the NBA Finals. Obviously, Dallas just beat Utah in 6. Jalen Brunson had the most total points through the whole playoffs. Dallas made a mistake because Jalen was about to get a 4-year, $55 million contract. Dallas never signed him to it. So now, Dallas, if they want to keep him, we have to spend some money. But, CP3, man, the man got 14 for 14, the most underrated superstar in the league.
Find God. For a reason.
Right? Oh, no, another one head producer. So tell you when we need that one. Right? But VJ, I'm going to start with you. For this series, obviously, we saw Booker come back for game 6. Didn't really look 100%. Obviously, him getting some time off now, 3 days off. Let's see if that hamstring heal up a little bit better for Monday. But how do you see this series going? And if you have to pick a winner of the series, who would you pick?
So this series is a hard series for both teams. I had Mavericks as my dark horse coming out of the West. Not my favorite, but just a dark horse. And Suns, they look like one of the best teams in the West, if not the best team. So this is going to be a really good matchup. I think the best player in the series is Luka. So may disagree and say CP3, but I think Luka is the best player in this series. Mm-hmm. And they always say, the best player in the series wins. Usually, but if I had to choose a team, that I still take Suns. I would say in 7 games, but I won't be shocked if the Mavericks do win this series. Just thinking back to how Luka played even against that Clippers team that had a healthy Paul George and Kawhi, and he was killing them. He was that series went to 7 games, I believe. They were up 3. Yep. So looking back on that, and the improvement of Jalen Brunson, it's going to be a tough series for Suns, and it's going to really test them. I don't think we can really take much from the Pelicans and Sun series, because the Pelicans they played decent, but it's still the Pelicans. And the Jazz didn't look as like a good team either, but. Yeah, it's going to be a tight series, but I'm going to give Phoenix in 7.
All right. So Cream, they played 3 times in the regular season, and Suns won all 3. Right? Yeah. Suns won by 8, by 7, and by 8. So they're so single digits. Obviously, 2 of those games they had Porzingis, and the last game, they had the team that they have now. But when you look at Dallas in the playoffs, obviously, it look like, I've said it many times, it reminds me of the 2011 team with Dirk and then a bunch of role players punching above their weight. Never expect Jalen to average 27 points per game. Even as much as Utah is still Utah, but 27 points is, a big deal, and it was very influential in the playoffs for them. So when you look at this series, we know CP3. I agree with VJ that obviously Luka is the best player in the series, but I don't think you can only look at that, because all right, you have Luka 1, but then you'd have said Booker or CP3 2, Booker or CP3 3, and then probably another Suns player 4. So then you'd have 3 of the Suns player and only 1 Dallas player. But Luka is a big deal, so Luka can cover for 2 players. Because the man, pass the ball, shoot the ball. Just his impact on the game is really big. So, Cream, how do you see this series going? Do you think that the Mavericks can beat the Suns?
The Suns is the better team, and probably should win. But I'm hoping that the Mavs can pull off a upset and go through. Like you alluded to, it will depend on these players continuing to punch above their weight, and like do I see them doing that throughout this playoff run? It's kind of difficult to see them maintaining that level right throughout this run. So it's gonna be a difficult task for Dallas to really upset Phoenix. As I said, what's his name? Luka is gonna get his numbers regardless.
Absolutely.
He's gonna get his put up his share, but he's gonna need persons to come along with him. Whether it be Brunson one night, whether it be Dinwiddie another night. He's gonna need his role players to perform consistently to have any chance of winning the series.
Absolutely.
But, for the pick, I'm gonna pick the upset. So I'm gonna go with Dallas in 7.
Dallas in 7. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a hard pick. That's a hard pick
because so I'm looking at it, right? And I'm looking at Reggie Bullock was shooting well. I don't like him to shoot well.
Exactly.
Finney Smith. I'm not sold on him.
The big guys
Jalen
and
Brunson,
Powell,
sure.
the big guys and Powell and the other one.
I don't know if Boban going to get some minutes in this series, but even as bad as Utah play, there were 2 games where they were right there. That last game, that game 6, they could have easily won that game and forced a game 7. So, looking at that, I'm saying that, hey, I saw where it says that CP3 imposed a curfew when they were in New Orleans. That showed that he's fully focused. I mean, last year, you get a taste of the pudding, now you want the whole pudding. So he knows what it takes to get back to the final. So I guess he just wants to get back there and then probably do something different, to go ahead and win it. But Gary, this series, who do you have?
All right. This is a very interesting series. Suns are the better team because overall, see what they did in the regular season and even from last season going to the finals, I think they have gotten better. You see CP3 playing at an elite level, and I believe I heard them saying it on Undisputed this week, and I think he has elevated his game because a man going 14 of 14 from the field, the only player since Will Chamberlain to go perfect from the field without since I think it was the 60s, because I think Will had 18 for 18 and he didn't have any dunks and any layups, so he's perfect, and he was perfect from the free throw line. So I see him improving his game, especially in the playoffs. So I'm looking at this series. Booker's coming back, he had an injury, and I'm not sure how healthy he is, but the completeness of the Phoenix team, I'm looking at them and they are much better than Dallas team. As we said, Luka is the exceptional standout player on their team. He'll get his numbers. He'll facilitate the offense. But my issue is, will the role players or will the other players on the team, will they step up? Will Jalen Brunson continue to play the same way he came from the Utah series? Will he give it 27 points per game in this series? Will Powell, the other guy, Spencer Dinwiddie, has been a no-show this year. Has been absolutely awful, right? And he was one of the key players coming from Brooklyn last season. In the regular season, played well for them. He's not been showing up in the playoffs. Will those guys step up? So I know what I'll get from Luka, but I'm worried about the other players, right? We know what we'll get from CP3. Booker, is a star. You can depend on, Ayton to, get his rebounds, provide his 18 points thereabouts. So I'm looking at the teams and I'm leaning towards Phoenix because they are the complete better team. Even though Luka is a standout player, he will need those players to play a bigger part in this series. Not like the Jazz series. Jazz is a good team, but I think when it comes to the playoffs and we've seen their history, they tend to just flame out. I think they look good in the regular season, but let's face it, when it comes to the playoffs, the Jazz, they're just a no-show. So I think this will be a test for the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm leaning towards the Suns. I won't be surprised if this series goes to 7, but I would give Phoenix in 6, but if not, Phoenix in 7.
Phoenix in 7.
They also facing tougher defense with the Suns. When you have Crowder and Bridges to lock up perimeter guys, it's gonna be more difficult for the likes of Brunson's. When the likes of Dinwiddie, it's gonna be a lot tougher. So
yeah, there's no Gobert out there where you can just switch on him and then dance salsa.
Barbecue chicken.
Yeah, there's no Gobert out there. So some people don't like that Gobert thing. But hey, all right. So Rash, we already talk about the Celtics. A lot of us have Celtics winning apart from Cream. Cream say he's going with the best player in the NBA right now, Giannis. And Bucks in 7. I think he said Bucks in 7.
Yes.
All right. So the next series, I don't think there's really much to talk about now. VJ, you need to let me know if we're gonna go one of the games then. I guess Embiid out, so we can probably get a ticket in our like a price range. But true. But we're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat. Obviously Miami Heat, just finished demolishing the Hawks 4-1. Trae Young was absolutely terrible.
Disaster.
And Philly just finished beating Toronto, who I just believe Toronto just run out of steam.
Yep.
No Fred VanVleet.
They hit a wall.
One leg. They just emotionally they were just out of it. They had nothing more to give. So we have to be proud of Toronto because they never just being 3-0 down.
Over 2 games.
Yeah, 3-0 down. They can lie down like Brooklyn and just be like, look at us.
Shaqiri, man, Devin.
But they fought and they come back. So it was 4-2. But now Joel Embiid is out, and there's no timetable for his return. But VJ, how do you see this series going? Can James Harden turn back into Houston James Harden and probably steal a game in Miami and then allow Embiid to come back in Philly and wearing mask and all that stuff and then change the series?
Boy, it's really unfortunate what happened to Embiid because I think a lot of people are looking forward to the series. I thought that Sixers would have had the advantage just with, I don't think Bam can defend Embiid. But when I look on the Sixers, even if Harden played like prime Harden, the Sixers backup for Embiid is DeAndre Jordan. Like, it's better than get Shaq out of retirement than DeAndre Jordan. So I can't really see the Sixers winning any games without Embiid, just because of the backup. If they had a service with the backup, not even even JaVale McGee, somebody who could play, I could say, all right, they could probably win a 1 game and hope Embiid come back for a game 4 and make it a series or something. But if Embiid doesn't come back the first 4 games, I just don't see how Sixers can win a game. Because
so you're saying if Embiid don't play the first 4 games, it's basically a sweep.
That's how I see it, because they have no size, they have nobody they're missing their best defender and their best offensive player. And their replacement can't score and can't defend. So
VJ, are you worried about Miami's health though? Because we saw that for game 5, Jimmy Butler sat out because his right knee. Kyle Lowry sat out because of his hamstring. Is this any concern moving forward?
For sure. If they miss games, Jimmy Butler, Lowry, or a combination in a same game, I can say, Harden pulling off 1 game when they miss those games. They do have a chance. But if Heat is playing all of their 5 starters for the entire series, it's hard to give Sixers any chance in that series without Embiid. So if Embiid doesn't come back for the first 4 games, I have it as a sweep. If he comes back, then it could possibly make it a series.
Okay. All right. Let me get Gary in here because Gary, I see Trae Young win a game. Right? Trae Young won a game against the same Miami team. And I believe, watching Miami over the regular season, there are some laps that you can get from them at times. Probably a little bit too cool for school. A little bit, they don't have their best player, so we don't have to press on the gas that hard. And sometimes when you do that, you can get a bit complacent, and Philadelphia can steal a game. Because listen, there's no Embiid, but they still have serviceable players like James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris. Danny Green can hit some big shots as he did for Game 6. So when you look at that, Gary, is there any way Doc Rivers can coach up this Philadelphia team, steal a game in Miami, and probably win this series in 6 or 7 games?
Oh boy, it can be difficult. As VJ said, I'm looking at the Sixers team because they really go as far as Embiid goes, right? He's their best player. Had a phenomenal MVP season. I am not convinced with Harden. I don't know if he has checked out from the Brooklyn from his time in Brooklyn. From the hamstring injury, we have not seen him being the same. I know there was a little period where he was putting up some MVP numbers, but I don't see him. He's not that sort of player from Houston anymore. He will get his 22 or 25, but I don't see. It's very difficult for me to see him, scoring 38 or 40. For them to pull at least a game or two out of the series, Harden would have to go vintage like a 45 or 40 points, in a couple of games. He cannot score 22 points or 25 points in any of these games in Miami and expect them to win, because the supporting cast, Maxey and these guys, they can, I know he had a very phenomenal series the last year, but I don't expect him. It's very difficult for me to see him keeping that level of intensity right throughout the playoffs. It will be good, but players in the playoffs who have been proven and tried, you can count on them. So I really doubt it. I expect him to, Harden to really give you that 25, 24 points as he's been doing so far. But I don't see it. I am leaning towards them, being swept. They might can pull out a game, because Joel Embiid being out indefinitely, we don't know, you know what that means. Indefinitely mean there's no timetable, so he could end up missing 4 games on the trot. So the only way they have a chance is if Harden, and remember, Miami is a very good defensive team. So I don't expect them to be easy, to get buckets against this this strong defensive team. If they're missing, Embiid, who provides that offense, and then James Harden not, turning back into that vintage, offensive machine that he is. So it's highly unlikely. So I'm leaning towards, a sweep if they don't come back. They might can pull out a one game, that is if they get Maxey going for a 40 or James Harden going for a 40, combined one night, 75 or 80 points between them. But outside of that, I don't see it.
All right. Here is Dylan of Sports saying, I think Miami is going to win a couple of games, but I can't underestimate James Harden, but he has to do defense. So basically has to play defense. Cream, Dylan of Sports saying he has to play some defense.
James Harden and defense not normally synonymous together.
Not at all. But if I'm supposed to go by VJ stats, remember, James Harden was one of the best defenders over there in Brooklyn, by
post defense. He does play a good post.
The man he had what I don't like, a player enter the league with a bad reputation, and that reputation, no matter what, stick with that game. Harden improved on defense. Especially he was like nobody could push him around.
Yep, and deflections.
He was deflections. Now it seemed like after that hamstring injury, he back to how he was at the beginning when he started his career. So it looked rough on the Sixers.
But yeah, but with that series, I think Joel's availability will be based on how the series goes. Meaning, if they split the first 2 games 1-1, they probably will keep him out the next game.
Yeah.
If they are down 0-2, then they will bring
They're
him back.
rushing. Yeah,
Then they will
probably
bring
rushing.
him back, put on the mask and everything, and say, let's go. But without the games that he won't be playing in, James Harden have to revert back to the Houston James Harden. Minimum 30 and 10. And he's gonna need Maxi, who has been great so far, to come along with him. And Mr. Tobias Harris, that likes to just fly under the radar on that big contract, has to step up and play like a max contract player.
Hey, question: is Paul Millsap still at the Sixers?
Millsap, yes, he is. DJ, sorry, DJ won't be the backup. I see Paul Reed getting more minutes than DJ now, but he's still small as well. He's not a big body.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't really have a big body because Bam is undersized. I didn't remember about Paul Reed, so but it's going to be a difficult series for Sixers.
Yeah, that, like if Doc Rivers ever supposed to get some ratings for coaching, this is the series for your build back. Whatever 3-1 lead you blew, this is a series where if you win this series, or if you even go up a 2-1 or 3-1 without an Embiid and have Embiid come back for that game, and you win this series, the narrative change about that.
Against him, though.
So,
against him.
Well, listen, I'm going with, man, I wanted Sixers. I wanted a Sixers-Suns finals. I don't know. I'm not picking this series until after the first 2 games. If Miami is up 2-0, I'm going with Miami. If it's 1-1, I'm going with Philly. Because as I said before, Miami, well-coached team, obviously, number 1 in 3 points, have the best scoring bench of all of that. But I just believe that sometimes they have a little lapse in concentration. When those 3-pointers are not falling, it's a total different team. So definitely, so this is how we're going to wrap it up. I know VJ is definitely happy about his Celtics. Good luck tomorrow, VJ, because just know, if they lose to the Bucks up Middleton, you have to come and you have to face the rhythm.
1-0 tomorrow. Don't worry. 1-0 tomorrow.
1-0 tomorrow. All right.
Let's go, Giannis.
All right, so definitely big up to the producer. Thank you for everyone that tuned in to another episode of our Sports Frenzzyy NBA show. And we will be back next week. Saturday, we're going to try to start 1 hour earlier. So we're going to start 8 a.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Jamaica time. And tomorrow, remember, we have our Males podcast that really starts 9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Jamaica time. So until next week, you guys have a good night.
Bless.
Peace.